Hello, my dear ones. Today we are going to be continuing to practice evaluating with substitution. So last class we talked about the difference between expressions, equations, and inequalities. And for expressions, we learned that if they have a variable in them, they're called a variable expression, and we can use different values to substitute in and evaluate the expression. Okay? So we're going to be focusing on evaluating expressions, specifically when we're using negative variables and giving ourselves some time to practice that. Okay? So just a quick review. Remember that when we're evaluating, we need to substitute. Okay? And substitution, we substitute the given value. The value will be given, they'll tell you x equals, for the specific variable. So our steps are to substitute into parentheses. And remember that substituting into parentheses is really important. And once we've substituted in using parentheses, then we can evaluate using Gemma. Okay? So let's take a look at an example and walk through it together. All right, we have been given the expression of 5a plus b. Oh, please do remember that a, or 5a, 2a, in this case 5a, means that we're multiplying 5 times a. That would be the same as if we said 5 times a. All right? So let's look at what we're going to do to evaluate. I like to rewrite our expression first, 5a plus b. Okay? And now, anywhere where we see a variable, we're going to write parentheses to fill them in later. So 5, and then where we see the a, we need to put in parentheses. If we don't put those parentheses in, it'll end up looking like a different number, and we'll lose the fact that it needs to be multiplication. In this case, they've told us, hey, we'd like to figure out what this is equal to if a is equal to 3. So inside our parentheses, we substitute in a 3. Then we continue to bring down the rest of the expression. We've got a plus, and then we have another variable, we have b. So we leave a placeholder for b with our parentheses. And we go and we look up here and they say that b is going to be equal to -2. So the negative sign and the 2 both need to go inside the parentheses. Okay. All right. So now that we've evaluated into parentheses, we're going to solve using Gemma. Okay. Find the value using Gemma. Remember that Gemma means grouping, exponents, multiplication and division, and adding and subtracting. Remember that multiplication and division is done left to right, so is adding and subtracting. It's not necessarily that adding or subtracting comes first. It's based on the order in which it's found in our problem. So here we have 5 times 3 plus 2. There's no grouping. Okay, so if I write Gemma on the side to help me remember my order, we don't see any grouping. There are not any exponents. But we do have multiplication. Remember, the number next to the parentheses means multiply. So we're going to do 5 times 3 first. 5 times 3 is 15 plus -2. Okay, so no more multiplication or division. So now I need to look at adding or subtracting. We do have addition. We're adding a negative number. Another important thing to remember is that if you have two signs next to each other, even if they're separated by a parenthesis, those two signs need to be simplified into a single sign, right? We're not allowed to have double signs. No double signs, okay? So in this case, we have a positive and a negative. So you can check and say, okay, which are the two that we have? And whatever the third one is the one it changes into. So we have a positive and a negative, so our answer is going to be a negative. A negative sign always beats a positive sign. Okay, so let's rewrite this. This is actually 15 minus 2. That plus and that minus cancel out and become a minus sign. Okay, so 15 take away 2 is 13. And that's how we evaluate. Okay, so that's how we have been doing it by hand. We can also go ahead and use Desmos. Okay, so if I want to use Desmos to solve for a problem like this, first we'll open up our Desmos, minimize it so that we can still see our problem. Try and move it out of the way. All right. Make sure that you're opening up the scientific calculator that's used for testing. Now we're going to tell the calculator, we're programming it, telling it what to do. So we want to go step by step. Right? First thing we want to do is say, hey, you need to know what the variables are going to be. We have to put the variables in first so it knows what to do with the letters. We put one variable per line. So here's our line, x equals 4. Then we do the next one, y is equal to negative 3. Hit enter, and z is equal to 10. Now, when we type in our expression that we want to evaluate, 2x plus y minus z divided by 5, it'll know what to do. So I'm going to type in 2x plus y minus, and then in parentheses, z divided by 5. Well, you'll notice when I click on the divided by symbol, it puts it in the bottom. Okay? And that's okay. You can have it put in the bottom like this. And that's fine. Z divided by 5 is the correct amount. Right? And that gives us 3. Or, if you're a little uncomfortable with the fraction bar, you can do 2x plus y minus, and then in parentheses, z. Now for our division sign, remember I taught you, you can use the Windows button, hold down Windows, and then press the period key. So Windows period will bring up those symbols or emojis. Okay? It says press Windows and period to use in any app. Now you don't want any smiley faces right now. They might be useful later. What we want is the one over here, symbols. And towards the bottom, you can put in the division sign. You'll put in 2, just delete one of them. Might also be helpful for you to copy so you can paste it over again later. Okay? So z divided by 5, and you'll notice it's the exact same value. So we know that the answer to this problem is 3. The value is 3. Okay? All right. Let's try the last one. And let's go ahead and show our substitution, but then we will do it in Desmos. So evaluate 12 minus, I need a parentheses for the x, and then there's a dot, parentheses for that z we're going to fill in, plus 6 divided by, and then you guessed it, another parenthesis for y. So x is 4, and then we had a z. What's z equal to? They would like z to be equal to 10. And then what is y equal to? Negative 3. Okay. Excellent. So if we wanted to at this point, we can solve it using GEMDAS, or we can use Desmos. Okay. Let's look at how we would do this in Desmos. So in Desmos, we've already defined what x, y, and z are equal to. So now we can just put in a new expression. I'm going to clear the 2 expressions that I had before and put in the new one. I'm going to put it in with the variables because we have our variables defined here. So 12 minus x, and then the dot means multiplication, so times z, plus 6 divided by y. Or, if you'd like, you can put in 6 and then hit Control V to paste what you did before, Control Y. All right, so we have that it should be equal to negative 30. All right? If you're not feeling trustworthy of Desmos, you can also solve it using Gemma. G-E-M-A. So do we have any grouping? We have parentheses, but there's nothing to do in the parentheses. So there isn't anything that needs to be done first for grouping. No exponents. So now it's up to multiplication and division. Let's see. First thing we come to when we are reading the problem left to right is 4 times 10. So we're going to multiply 4 times 10 and bring that down. 12 minus 4 times 10 is 40. Then we have plus 6 divided by a negative 3. Do we have any multiplication or division left? Yeah, we sure do. Reading left to right, now I can do my division. 6 divided by a negative 3. 12 minus 40 plus 6 divided by a negative 3 is negative 2. All right, now you can take it out of parentheses, or you can keep it in parentheses to help you see the difference that it's a plus negative 2. I'm going to take it out for now. All right, we're done with multiplication and division. Finally, add and subtract. If I have 40 and I'm taking away, or I have 12 and I'm taking away 40, when I subtract, I'm going to get 28. And it's going to be negative because I'm taking away more than I had. Then I bring down my plus negative 2. Remember, two signs here, you got to get rid of one of them, and a negative always wins. If I have a positive and a negative, my answer is going to be a negative. So let's rewrite this. This should be 28, and our two signs are a negative. We always drop our doubles. If I have 28 and negative 28 and I take away 2 more, I get negative 30. So as you can see, we get the same value whether we use Desmos or we do the evaluation. Good luck on your practice moving forward, and remember, use Desmos and get comfortable with that. If you'd like to do it by hand, you may as well, but I strongly suggest using Desmos for accuracy and for efficiency. Talk to you soon. Bye.